I need to tell you something. 3 days ago, at exactly 2:47 in the morning Universal Time, we received data from 3i Atlas. That data was timestamped for 6:14 in the morning, 4 hours in the future. Let me say that again. We received information that was marked as being sent 4 hours from now. The data arrived before it was transmitted. I am not confused. I am not mistaken. I checked this 17 times. The European Space Agency checked it. NASA's Deep Space Network checked it. The timestamps are impossible. The order is wrong, and when I say wrong, I mean it violates everything we understand about how information moves through space. My name does not matter. What matters is this. I have worked in deep space communications for 32 years. I have processed data from hundreds of objects, asteroids, comets, space probes, everything. Data always arrives in order. Always it travels at the speed of light. It follows rules. Those rules have never been broken. Not once, not until 3i Atlas. The first packet came in on Tuesday morning. Standard stuff, distance measurements, spectral analysis, nothing unusual. Then came packet 2, and packet 2 had a timestamp from before packet 1, not by seconds, by hours. Then came packet 3. It was timestamped for next week, Thursday, 7 days from now. This is documented. This is recorded. Multiple stations around the world received this. The timing makes no sense, and timing is everything. In space communications, timing is how we know what is real. Let me tell you what happened next. Because what happened next changed everything. The people at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California were the first to notice. They have the most sensitive equipment. They track everything that moves in deep space. When the first strange packet came in, they thought it was a computer error. They ran diagnostics. Everything checked out. The equipment was working perfectly. So, they waited for more data. 6 hours later, another packet arrived. This one was time-stamped for yesterday, a full day in the past, but it contained information about events that happened this morning. It described a solar flare that would not occur for another 18 hours, and 18 hours later, that exact solar flare happened exactly as described down to the precise energy output. That is when the senior analysts at JPL made phone calls, emergency calls, calls to the European Space Agency in Germany, calls to NASA headquarters in Washington, calls to observatories around the world. Within 3 hours, every major space agency on Earth was focused on 3i Atlas. The British team at Jodrell Bank Observatory picked it up next. They have enormous radio dishes. They pointed everything at 3i Atlas. What they found made things worse, much worse. The object was transmitting constantly, not occasionally, constantly, and every single transmission had a timestamp problem, some from the past, some from the future, none from the present moment. Here is what makes this truly strange. The light travel time from 3i Atlas to Earth is known. We know exactly how long it takes for a signal to reach us. It takes 47 minutes and 12 seconds. That is fixed. That is physics. You cannot change the speed of light, but the timestamp suggested the data was arriving faster or slower or completely outside of time as we understand it. A team at the Gemini Observatory in Hawaii started tracking the transmission patterns. They found something nobody expected. The out-of-sequence data was not random. It followed a pattern. Every 6th packet came from the future, every 8th packet came from the past, and the ones in between matched the current time. But here is the problem. If you arranged the packets by timestamp instead of arrival time, they formed a message, a specific message. In mathematics, prime numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. The first 50 prime numbers transmitted in perfect order, but only if you ignored arrival time and organized by timestamp. If you went by when the data actually arrived, it was chaos, meaningless noise. The sequence only made sense if you treated time differently. Leading experts in data transmission looked at this. They could not explain it. One researcher said this: "If the data is correct, then 3i Atlas is not following our timeline. It is following its own timeline. And that timeline intersects with ours at specific moments like two rivers crossing. Let me explain why this matters. Everything in space follows strict rules about time. Light takes time to travel, radio waves take time to travel. Nothing moves faster than light. Nothing arrives before it is sent. These are laws, not suggestions. Laws. And 3i Atlas is breaking them. The Italian Space Agency ran simulations. They tried to recreate these timestamp errors using every known phenomenon. Solar interference, magnetic fields, gravitational lensing, relativistic effects from high speed. Nothing worked. Nothing produced this pattern. The closest they came required 3i Atlas to be moving at 90% the speed of light. But we can measure its speed. It is moving at 43 km/s. Fast for an asteroid, but nowhere near light speed. Then came the discovery that made everyone stop talking. The discovery that changed this from a mystery to something else entirely. The observatory in Chile, the one with the giant telescope. They were recording everything, every transmission, every packet. They decided to look at the raw signal, not the data inside, just the signal itself. The carrier wave, what they found should not exist. The carrier wave was modulated. That means it was being changed on purpose. Modified. You only modulate a carrier wave if you are encoding information. Nature does not do this. Rocks do not do this. Ice does not do this. Only technology does this. Only intelligence does this. The modulation pattern was complex. It used phase shifting. That means the wave was being moved forward and backward in tiny increments like Morse code, but far more sophisticated. The phase shifts encoded additional data, data that was separate from the main transmission, hidden data, data that was also out of sequence. A team at NASA decoded this hidden layer. It took them 4 days. What they found was coordinates, precise coordinates, latitude and longitude. On Earth, the coordinates pointed to 6 locations. One in the Atlantic Ocean, one in Antarctica, one in the Australian outback, one in the Sahara Desert, one in Siberia, and one in Peru. These locations have nothing in common. Different climates, different geology, different everything except for one thing. They are all exactly the same distance from the center of the Earth down to the centimeter. The researchers checked historical records. 3 of those locations were sites of unexplained radio signals in the past, signals that were recorded but never explained. One was in 1977, one was in 1991, one was in 2003. All 3 happened at the exact same time of year, August 15th. All 3 lasted exactly 19 seconds. All 3 were never repeated. This is not speculation. This is documented. The signals were recorded. They exist in archives. But nobody connected them until now. Nobody realized they were related because they happened years apart, decades apart. But when you map them, when you plot them on a globe, they form a perfect geometric pattern, an equilateral triangle, perfect angles, perfect distances down to the meter. The implications started becoming clear. 3i Atlas was not randomly transmitting. It was not malfunctioning. It was communicating with something or someone, and that something was on Earth, or had been on Earth, or would be on Earth. Now, here is where this gets truly unsettling. The European Space Agency has a satellite system called SWARM, 3 satellites that measure Earth's magnetic field. Very sensitive instruments. They can detect tiny changes, changes that would be invisible to ground equipment. 2 days after we decoded the coordinates, the SWARM satellites detected something. Magnetic pulses coming from those exact 6 locations, all at the same time, all identical, all lasting 19 seconds. The British Geological Survey confirmed it. Ground sensors picked up electromagnetic activity, very faint but synchronized. 6 locations thousands of kilometers apart, all doing the same thing at the same moment. That does not happen naturally. Electromagnetic events are local. They do not synchronize globally unless something is coordinating them. The Australian team checked their location, the Outback site. They found something there. A stone formation, very old, possibly 8,000 years old, arranged in a circle, 23 meters in diameter. The stones are magnetic. They contain high concentrations of iron. When the pulse happened, instruments detected that these stones were resonating, vibrating at a very specific frequency, the same frequency as the carrier wave from 3i Atlas. Similar formations were found at 4 of the other locations, ancient, magnetic, precisely arranged, all dormant for thousands of years, all suddenly active, all responding to something from deep space. Let me tell you what this means. It means 3I Atlas is not just an object passing through our solar system. It is part of something larger, something planned, something that involves Earth and time. The out-of-sequence data is not an error. It is a feature. The object is demonstrating something. It is showing us that time as we experience it is not absolute. The future packets are not impossible. They are evidence that 3I Atlas exists in a different temporal framework, a framework where cause and effect work differently. Theoretical physicists have looked at this. One hypothesis suggests this. 3I Atlas might be moving through higher dimensions, not just the 3 spatial dimensions we experience. If it moves through time as a physical dimension, then from its perspective, it could send data to any point along its path through our solar system. Past or future would be accessible the same way left and right are to us. But that creates a massive problem. If 3I Atlas can access different times and if it is coordinating with sites on Earth, then when was this coordination established? The stone formations are 8,000 years old at least. Was 3I Atlas here before? Did it set this up millennia ago, or is it setting it up now in a way that affects the past? Either option breaks everything we understand. The NASA director held a classified briefing 6 days ago. I know someone who was there. They will not tell me what was said, but they told me this. The room went silent halfway through, completely silent, and when people left, they looked different, scared, or maybe amazed, or both. The European Space Agency moved 3 satellites. They repositioned them to maintain constant observation of 3I Atlas. That is expensive. That is complicated. They do not do that casually. They moved billions of dollars worth of equipment to watch this one object. That tells you how serious this is. Air traffic was restricted over 2 of the coordinate sites, the one in Peru and the one in the Sahara. No flights allowed within 50 kilometers. The official reason was military exercises, but there are no military bases nearby, no operations scheduled, just empty desert and no-fly zones. Research teams were deployed to all 6 locations. I confirmed this through 3 separate sources. Teams with specialized equipment, ground-penetrating radar, electromagnetic sensors, seismic monitors. They are there right now working around the clock. And all their findings are classified. None of it is being published. None of it is being shared. Clearances have been revoked. Scientists who were working on this project last week cannot access the data this week. Their credentials were canceled, no explanation given, just locked out. That does not happen for normal astronomical observations. That happens when something is considered a security issue. The data stream from 3I Atlas changed 4 days ago. The out-of-sequence packets stopped completely. Now everything arrives in perfect order. Perfect timing, like nothing was ever wrong. But before it stopped, there was one final transmission, one last packet from the future. It was time-stamped for April 9th next year, 4 months from now. That packet contained a single piece of information, a date, a time, and coordinates. The coordinates are in the Pacific Ocean, middle of nowhere. The date is April 9th. The time is 3:47 in the morning, Universal Time. That is 98 days from now. Multiple observatories are planning to watch that location to see what happens. If anything happens, ships are being positioned, satellites are being aimed. Every deep space network on Earth will be listening because if something occurs at that exact time and place, it means 3I Atlas really can see the future. It means the out-of-sequence data was not an error. It was a prediction, and if it can predict the future, then what else can it do? Can it change the future? Can it influence events? The stone formations are already responding to it. 8,000-year-old structures suddenly active. What else is it activating? What other systems are waiting? Systems we do not know about. There is a second possibility, maybe more disturbing. Maybe the out-of-sequence data is not about prediction. Maybe it is about communication across time. Maybe something on Earth or something that was on Earth is coordinating with 3i Atlas using time itself as a communication channel. Past, present, and future, all accessible, all connected. Think about that. If you could send messages through time, you would not need them to arrive in order. You could send information to any point you needed. The sequence would not matter, only the content would matter, and that is exactly what we are seeing. The hidden layer in the transmissions, the one with the coordinates. It also contained mathematical formulas, very advanced formulas. They describe gravitational manipulation, the creation of localized time distortions, the kind of physics we have theories about but cannot test, cannot build. The formulas show how to bend spacetime on a small scale, how to create temporal pockets, areas where time moves differently. If those formulas are accurate, and several physicists say they appear to be, then whoever built 3i Atlas has technology far beyond ours, centuries beyond, maybe millennia beyond. They can manipulate time, they can move through dimensions we cannot access, and for some reason they want us to know about the 6 locations on Earth. I keep coming back to one question. Why now? 3i Atlas has been traveling through space for who knows how long, possibly millions of years. Why activate the Earth sites now? Why send the out-of-sequence data now? What is happening in 98 days that matters? The stone formations are getting more active. The magnetic pulses are increasing in frequency. Started once per day, now 3 times per day. The pulses are getting stronger. Ground sensors are picking up vibrations, very faint but measurable, like the Earth itself is responding to something. There is talk of sending a probe, a fast probe, something that could reach 3i Atlas while it is still relatively close, maybe 5 years travel time. The probe would carry instruments, cameras, sensors, and a message, a response showing we received the transmissions, showing we understand something is being communicated. But there is debate. Some argue we should not respond. We do not know what 3i Atlas is. We do not know its intentions. Sending a message could be dangerous, could be inviting something we do not want. Others argue we must respond. The object clearly knows we are here, clearly knows about specific Earth locations. Not responding might be worse than responding. Governments are involved now, not just space agencies, actual governments, defense departments, intelligence services. There are meetings happening at levels I cannot access. Decisions being made that will not be public. This has moved beyond science. This has become a matter of national security, international security. I spoke with someone yesterday, someone I have known for 20 years, very senior position. They told me this: we are preparing for 3 scenarios. First scenario, April 9th happens and nothing occurs. The prediction is wrong. Everything was a coincidence. We move on. Second scenario. April 9th happens and something occurs, something explainable, natural phenomenon, magnetic event. We study it and learn something new. Third scenario, April 9th happens and something impossible occurs, something that proves 3i Atlas is intelligently controlled. That proves the time manipulation is real. That proves we are not alone and never were alone. They said the third scenario is what everyone is planning for, quietly, without saying it out loud. They are planning for first contact or recontact, contact with something that has been here before, something that left markers, something that is coming back. The timing bothers me. The timing bothers everyone. Out-of-sequence data, messages from the future, predictions. It all points to one thing. Time is not what we think it is. Or maybe time is exactly what we think it is, but we are not experiencing all of it. Maybe we are stuck in one moment moving forward 1 second at a time, while other things, other intelligences, can move freely backward, forward, sideways, through dimensions we cannot see. If that is true, then everything changes. History changes. The future changes. Because if someone can access all of time, then they have already seen what happens. They know how this ends. They know what we discover. They know what we do. And maybe, just maybe, they are trying to help us, or warn us, or prepare us. The data is still coming in every day. Perfect timing now, perfect order. But the content is strange. It contains star charts, maps of stellar systems we have never seen, galaxies too far away for our telescopes to resolve, chemical compositions of planets light years away. How would 3i Atlas know this? How would it have this information? Unless it has been to those places, unless it has traveled distances we cannot imagine. There is one more thing, one detail that has not been shared publicly. The final transmission, the one with the April 9th prediction. It also contained a number, a very large number, 37 digits. Nobody knows what it means. They have tried everything. Tried treating it as coordinates, as a date, as a frequency, as a chemical formula. Nothing fits. Just a number. But if 3i Atlas is demonstrating intelligence, then that number means something important. I will tell you what I think based on 32 years of experience, based on everything I have seen. I think we are watching first contact happen in real time. Not the way we imagined, not with spaceships landing, not with radio messages saying hello, but with time itself being used as the message. The out-of-sequence data is not a malfunction, it is a demonstration, a proof, a way of saying we are here. We understand things you do not, and you need to pay attention. The stone formations are part of it, ancient sites built by people who saw something, who knew something, who left markers for the future. Or maybe they did not build them. Maybe they were already there. Maybe 3i Atlas built them thousands of years ago on a previous pass through our solar system, setting up a network, a system, something that activates when conditions are right. If you are watching this, if you are hearing this, then you need to understand something. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. The data exists. The observations exist, the government response exists, multiple nations are coordinating, resources are being deployed, all because of one object, one interstellar visitor that can apparently violate time. I need you to share this information, not because I want views or subscribers, because people need to know. This affects everyone. If April 9th brings first contact, everyone should be prepared. If it brings proof that time can be manipulated, that changes everything we understand about reality. And if it brings nothing, if the prediction is wrong, we still learned something. We learned that the universe is stranger than we thought. We learned that maybe, just maybe, we are not the only ones watching the stars. Stay informed on this developing story. I will update as more information becomes available. Monitor the space agency websites. Watch for announcements. Watch what they do, not just what they say. Actions tell you more than words. And right now, their actions suggest they expect something significant. 98 days, that is all we have. 98 days until we find out if 3i Atlas really can see the future. 98 days until we learn if time is negotiable. 98 days until April 9th, 3:47 in the morning, Pacific Ocean coordinates, when either everything changes or nothing happens. I know which one I think is coming, and based on the response from every major space agency on Earth, they think the same thing. They are not preparing for nothing to happen. They are preparing for everything to change. This is the most important story in human history, and it is happening right now. While you watch this, while satellites track 3i Atlas, while teams analyze data, while governments make plans, the clock is running. The countdown has started. And in 98 days, we get our answer. I will be watching. The world will be watching. And somewhere in the Pacific Ocean at a coordinate, we now know, something will either happen or it will not. But I believe it will happen because the data from 3i Atlas arrived out of sequence, because timing became the anomaly, and because anomalies, real anomalies, do not happen without reason. Pay attention to April 9th. Remember that date. Remember this moment, because this might be the moment everything changed. The moment we learned we were not alone. The moment we learned time is not a prison. The moment we learned the universe is far stranger and far more wonderful than we ever imagined. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, And remember, the most extraordinary things often announce themselves quietly, with data, with numbers, with timing that makes no sense until suddenly it makes all the sense in the world.